Hi everybody, it's Miss Cole again to talk with you about one of my favorite books. The book that I have today is one that is my favorite for a different reason. It's one that I have a personal connection to. This book is called For the Bride, and I believe that it belonged to my grandmother, my dad's mom. And the reason I believe this is that it's got advertisements in it. And all of the advertisements are for places that are in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is where my dad grew up. And it was published originally in Chicago in 1922. But I think that it was published for Lancaster. So it's special to me because I never knew my dad's mom. She died very young. I don't think even my mom got the chance to meet her. And so this is one of only a very few things of hers that I have, things that connect me to her. And it would have been published right about the time that she and my grandfather got married, or possibly a couple of years before that, because they were both born around the turn of the century. So not recently, but over 100 years ago, the turn of the 20th century. And it has information about, obviously it's got the advertisements for local businesses, and it's got information about how to set up your home as a new wife, as a bride, obviously. And some of the pages have been cut out. They're missing. So I don't know what... Hopefully those were ones that she found especially useful or interesting. And I suppose what's left is the stuff that wasn't as good. But it's really an interesting look at the expectations as well as the technology and the procedures that were used in the early 20th century. One of my favorites as I went through was on laundry, because it talks about there's a whole section on bluing. Yeah. So apparently bluing was what was used for not so much removing stains, but for counteracting the yellowing that would happen in whites and linens and things like that. Things that were supposed to be very bright white. Yeah, if solid blues are used, tie them in several thicknesses of cheesecloth or a heavy piece of muslin or flannel. Use about 1 teaspoonful of liquid blue to a tub, or about 1/3 of a ball to a tub. I got nothing. It's really interesting. Starching. When the garment is to be plain starched, use the following proportions. 1 to 3 tablespoonfuls starch, 1 teaspoonful borax. I actually know what that is. 1 teaspoonful paraffin, and 1 quart hot water. So I guess you make your own starch mixture, and it has these other things in it. Dry by hanging with the wind, pinning straight and hanging enough of the garment over the line to prevent its corners from tearing. Did not know that was going to be a problem. Information on budgeting your kitchen, buying meats and fish, buying vegetables and fruits, buying groceries, which are different from meats, fish, vegetables, and fruits. I assume they mean dried goods there. Making menus for 2. Because, of course, it's going to be a little while before you have little ones on the way. And what foods go together. Of course, there are recipes. How to measure, whether you use liquid measure or dry measures. Timetable for broiling, baking, roasting, frying, and steaming. How the cuts of meat are in here. And then, of course, as you go along through, there are also various essays about how to be the right kind of wife. And it's incredibly didactic and unintentionally hilarious. My favorite essay, which I'm going to share with you because this is in the public domain, since it's so old. Chocolate dipped confections. Sounds delightful. How to make your own mayonnaise. Of course you'll make your own mayonnaise. My favorite essay is the last one. It's called The Little Woman in It. This is about your role in the home. Brides. So here we go. Although you have made your home as beautiful, as clean, and as comfortable as you possibly can, what does it mean to your husband? How does he feel toward it? Would he rather be there than any other place on earth? Will he find it a source of joy and inspiration with a happy atmosphere that will spur him on to real accomplishment? It's all going to depend on the little woman in it. The home is the background of your personality. He loves it because it is part of you. And because you care for it. He loves to add to its furnishings because it contributes to your joy and helps make a lovelier background for you. He feels in the home peace and rest and relaxation, together with a steadfast confidence in his ability that brings out the very best in him. That is, he feels this way if you are the right kind of little woman. Many girls, as soon as they are married, feel that there's nothing more to be accomplished, as if all striving and effort had ceased. To be sure, marriage is the greatest event in a woman's life, but it's just the beginning of a companionship that can be joyous beyond measure if the woman does her part. To earn the man's respect, you will, of course, be a good housekeeper. That's your job, and it's worthwhile doing well. Then, to keep his love and admiration, you will be a fine cook. It's marvelous to see grouchiness and ill temper disappear at the sight of a perfectly cooked meal. As a matter of fact, the man who is well fed, that means fed to keep well, by the directions given in this book, is almost never cross. Nerves and a bad temper do not exist when a man is well. You are the center of the home. It will mean everything to him to see you invariably neat and dainty. And this is possible even on cleaning day, if you only realize that it's just as worthwhile to look pretty for your husband as it was when he was just your sweetheart. Be sure to include in your trousseau some pretty bungalow aprons and afternoon house dresses so that you will always look well-dressed about the house. And just a word more. Keep up with the times. Be as jolly as you were when you were engaged. Welcome his friends. Read the papers and magazines he likes, so you can talk intelligently on the subjects in which he is interested. Always take time to really listen when he talks about business. It's an incalculable help to a man to be able to talk things out. This is really thinking out loud, and many a man has accomplished marvels by talking out ideas to a wife who was a good listener. Remember, you're not only lovers, you're pals and partners. Happiness can be built on only such a foundation, and when it is securely laid on this basis, it is truly the pearl of great price. So, you may guess that I do not completely agree with most of what it says. But at the same time, the tone and the things that it says are really interesting from just a look back at the way things were, or were perceived to be, or were expected to be, but also the materials used and what household life might have been like. So it's definitely very interesting. And I can't help wondering what my grandmother's thoughts on this would have been. My grandfather always kept a very tidy house. I have very strong memories of the house the row house on East Chestnut Street, the furnishings, the texture of the carpet, the smells of the house, the food, the cleaners used for the restroom, the mothballs in the chest, just faint things. And not faint memories, but like faint scents. But the different textures. There's different carpet in the living room. There's linoleum in the kitchen. And a strip of metal that goes across between the kitchen and the hardwood flooring to make sure it stays in place. The warping in the windows, the wood banister, the plastic over the stairs to help it stay nice. Just so many things that I remember. Oh, and then the stairs from the second floor to the third floor did not have that. And they were more worn in the center parts than they were on the edges, where they creaked. So, even though that's not the house that I grew up in, we visited fairly regularly. And I have just so many memories there of my grandfather in the house. And I wonder a lot what it was like for his wife, for his bride. So this is something that's special to me, not necessarily as a book for the book itself, but for it being a connection to somebody that I don't otherwise get to know. So I guess why I'm sharing this is because as an English teacher, there's often the sense of, literary merit and things like that. But books can be important to us. Stories can be important to us for other reasons besides that. And that's not a bad thing. A book doesn't have to be of great literary merit to be important to you. And I hope that you will share with me some of your memories of books and stories that are important to you down in the comments. So thanks so much for listening, everybody.